Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Croatia. Well, after 10 episodes, surprising that Croatia would make it this far. But now, we plan on going to war soon, which will be against our old enemy Venice for Durazzo, which we will finally take it, because later this year, the truce with Venice will expire, and the Ottomans will soon join us, but not right now, but because they're in the middle of a war, assisting one of their allies, as well as all the others, which they are fighting against Akonulu, which Akonulu is an ally to the Ottomans. So Akonulu is on the offensive and the Ottomans will assist them. They don't think too much of us because of different religion. But obviously most of the army is on their way. And there's one of the Beyliks. And this is what they want. They want this area, which is currently under siege and will soon fall, as it is Kurdish territory. And of course they would also have to deal with Ajam, which is a one of the Timurid chiefdoms. Karkanulu is not involved in this, but there's going to be a fight there soon, and hopefully they'll take good care of them. I'm rather surprised that the Mamluks have been steadily expanding, even all the way into Mamlukian Arabia, which kind of indicates that the only other country that could be on par with the Ottomans in terms of manpower would be the Mamluks. In a hypothetical war, it's like, well, what happens if Croatia want to retake all the Balkans, including the big prize, Zarigrad, also known as Constantinople? I mean, I could see Croatia, Poland, and the Commonwealth, basically, because they haven't formed it yet, but one day Lithuania will join Poland and become the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. I could see them joining us. And then somehow, I'm just chuckling at the fact, and somehow ally with the Mamluks, despite the religious differences, but they're willing to ally if they were to tell us about, you know, not to ally with the Ottomans. And too many relations is another thing, and yeah, a bit of distance, but don't worry, one day we'll probably be together, and maybe we can free the other Beyliks of Anatolia and just reduce the Ottomans even further. Not likely to ally with Muscovy because they do not like Poland. No, they don't like that at all. Independent nation, yeah, just making sure. Made good friends. But unfortunately for Poland, they should have never allied with Austria. Because one day I will fight against Austria for the control of here, and here, even though I have no territorial claims of it yet. But maybe once we're done with Venice, to take this part of Albania and create Albania as a subject, and an eventual integration of Serbia, which will happen in 1561, which will create Bulgaria through here. But we got until 1594 that this province of control. So basically, you got 30 years, and in those 30 years, We'll never lose Sofia as a core province. Is that so? Don't you worry. We will restore Bulgaria one day as a subject to Croatia in the future. Although it'll be a pretty big subject, you know, comparatively. I could see in the future. Again, we have this many favors with the Ottomans. And we'll use it. So in future, near future, for the future conflict against Durazzo, we'll be fighting against Bologna, two Sicilies, Constance. Mantua won't join because they are threatened, whatnot, and war exhausted. Poland is in debt, but I could tell Poland to prepare for war. Florence will join if they want territorial gains. Except that would join make Mantua join, which doesn't scare me one bit. If I was to give them a territorial gain, this is probably what I would promise. Just Durazzo, and I will give Florence territory. Like if they could defeat Bologna to either of these areas, so maybe we can have an Italian ally. The Ottomans are too busy. Poland will join easily if we can tell them to prepare for war. And once war is on, well, you better get the Navy home. But remember, you got until this September. Also, in the meantime, what we've learned from the previous lessons of previous conflicts, so to speak, is Croatia's strongest weapon is not necessarily the army, it's diplomacy. So I have decided, and even though I've already decided it, that this free slot here will be diplomatic ideas. Because we need more diplomats, more diplomatic relations. And then in the future we'll get another diplomat. Improve relations further. And this is our priority. Diplomatic reputation. Province war score cost reduction, so yeah. And diplomatic technology costs reduced. And when complete in the future, which will probably happen in the next century, lowered impact on stability from diplomatic actions. As if you're going to do no CB wars or breaking a truce or whatnot. And if you complete diplomatic ideas, going along with defensive ideas, it'll be yet another diplomat and diplomatic relations. And with humanist, improve relations further, and maximum of the cultures won. Which definitely reflects the... It's almost like I'm role-playing as Yugoslavia, so to speak. This diplomatic ideas, because we have links between East and West. The East being the Ottomans, and the West with the Italian, and the, I guess, Poland to up north. That we want to be friendly with anybody that would be a useful ally to us. And what else? Oh yes, the institution that once we reach the 400, in fact in 2 months, let's embrace it. Unless you want to wait a few more months and then embrace it. And of course we'll have more trade power around here. And trade is one of our, you know, great sources of income. And I kind of noticed that we have been increasing in production. And this is going to lead to the, not just a new idea group, but this is also for government reform. That it took me a while to decide. We've been getting quite a bit of income from technology and being ahead of time of administrative, which does increase production. And some of the more developed areas have increased production by a lot. And there's this option where the basic currency, which gives you a lot more but increases corruption, which I think it would work because we have, you know, pretty high religious unity. And hang on. As I was saying, I had to took a phone call. Now the religious unity is pretty high, and also being ahead of time and positivity. If the country were to be more stable all the way, then I'd be very willing to debase currency just to get even more money, just to spend on, you know, the good stuff. You know, this courthouse that we have here. It's not until military technology 14 to upgrade this castle. Because I thought about, you know, building more workshops. Workshops and barracks throughout the country. Taxation is fine in certain areas. I mean, you got this great development, and yet it's not being, you know, it's not being utilized. Like, say, if I were to build a barracks here, it would help with the local manpower. Although the regimental camp to increase land force limits, so currently it's not all the way up to 30 yet. But I think as we annex Serbia, and then that will increase the land force limit, no matter what, and until the point where we will have a second army. We're still going to be use our one and only army here. With mostly infantry with some cavalry. Thought about getting up to 25,000, but do that after the war with Venice. Because I'm thinking about adding, just 2 more cavalry regiments, because the Croatian cavalry is part of our, you know, tradition. Because of the combat ability. And just wait until we have infantry combat ability up, and then we'll fight very well. Even though the only thing we'd be lacking is discipline. And before I talk about the production efficiency, go for diplomatic. In which we stated before, our strongest weapon is diplomacy. We've already used up all of this, so let's have this. So we got another. And I would probably try to save up some of that. As much as I really want to complete these 2 more humanist ideas, so you can have idea cost reduction just to get all of these easier. And when we get to level 14, there would have to be... I'm divided on what the 4th idea group should be in the future. One is quantity, and the other economic. Which again, I learned it from the Delhi Mughal series, and based on the Yugoslav route that I've taken, those 2 ideas would be very suitable. But I'm leaning towards economic in the future because Kosovo, home of the gold mine there, gonna have a bit of issues with inflation, and so we need to get that. So I think it would be best to save up some of that, and then that again. Do anything to get more administrative power. To finish up these ideas, so idea costs will be reduced, so it'll be easier to work on the rest of diplomatic if need be, and all that. Yeah, do not forget about the institution's tech penalty, which we're about to spend it. Speaking of that, I was kind of torn with this as well. And I'm thinking either aristocratic court with the yearly army tradition, and after further reading on States General and based on the circumstances I'm in, and about the don't have consorts and heirs, and that stability cost modifier seems very good, but I was basically like, I really want to use this because I do not like the next heir I have. And then I was reminded, but you would lose the ability to have royal marriages if you were to do that. And since you've taken on the diplomatic route now, I mean, that's one thing, but benevolence combined with benign diplomats and yet combine it with the humanist improving relations, it just makes annexation a real easy process. And going for States General, a States General, whatever. To have status of monarchist, it would just have a unique character to the country, but also at the same time would be more stable because of the cost modifier reduction. The only drawback is I don't believe you can have royal marriages anymore. Because as he has no administrative skill at 30. And the next one is worse. But yet also, by the way, reformed. There is no reformed church around here, but it's just that man's personal beliefs. But I'm most likely going for that. That was my most likely choice because of production efficiency, because, you know, our economy is weak at the most because of development. But this, for stability, no consorts, no heirs, which makes it an elective monarchy, basically. But it stays monarchist mechanics, which I'm a bit familiar with that when I played Netherlands one time. And of course, after that, well, as well as to decide whether if you wish to become a monarchy or a republic. Theocracy is out of the question for me. Becoming a republic, if I were to do that, which means, yeah, that Burger's influence would be up there, which they've been very beneficial as we were trade intensive, but and all that. So again, monarchy, diplomats +1, autonomy change, governing capacity, national focus, cooldown. A republic is all that plus local unrest reduction, tax modifier of manpower, sailors, regular influence. We'll have to think about that later. It's not going to happen until the 1600s. It's probably the separation power to occur. We'll see. But you know what? Let's experiment with this. States General. By a union of states with representatives in the States General, we can more easily deal with the pro-federal movements in our nation while retaining our monarchy. Through elections and events, the statists and monarchists will vie control over the nation. The effects of this reform and the frequency of elections depend on which faction is currently in power. Of course, this will lose our ability to have consorts and heirs. 4-year terms. So does that mean royal marriages are gone? Oh, they're still there. That's what I originally feared because I didn't understand it. So, here it is. It's, neutral right now, so... The next election is... Well, not right now. It's outdated, so just wait for a day to pass. Because we just done a government reform, so... Right now, statists are in power, so it reduces national unrest. Diplomatic reputation up, which is good. That's what I need. Because of what we just did. But if the monarchists were to be in power, manpower recovery speed, faster yearly prestige, and yearly legitimacy. And this is the other way. So, is it time for him to step down, then we get a new cry that's going to be elected? Because I originally feared this may backfire, but I was thinking about adding more production efficiency, but it'll always go down no matter what because of the ahead of time thing. Unless you were to build more workshops in some of the more developed areas. and had interest in developing Bosnia. And also, speaking of Bosnia, with the mountainous terrain, another lesson from the past war. Since Bosnia is mostly a hilly country, but I believe and Herzegovina is the most valuable because of the mountains that we defend. The only drawback is crossing the rivers and whatnot. So I thought about removing the castle, the split, build one here in and thought about building one more here in Dubrovnik, as it's hilly terrain. And it's also home of the Ragusa trade node, which is very, very important to us. And we kind of use Dubrovnik as the unofficial naval base because that's where we often position our fleet here. But we'll do that in post-war, if we have a lot of money and income. So you got until September. Got this many favors out of you. Can ask to prepare for war, so we have that option now. Election in the kingdom. So strengthening the status, the force Demetrius wanted me to accept the election of the new Krai. Both the states and monarchists have put forward a new candidate. The manpower is full right now. Oh, so yeah, now you get to pick a choice. We had to get rid of the heir because he was no good. So in this new elective monarchy system, 203 or 134. It will be a monarchist then. Krešimir Ibrahimovic. Ibrahimovic? Well, it's no longer ran by the Svacic house. So basically anybody who's, you know, Ibrahimovic is a Bosnian name, but he's Croatian, clearly. So this will also prevent personal unions with anyone. The next election will be when ruler dies. Thought it was 4 years. Well, take what you can get. And hopefully he better have a good personality. Okay, let me see. Yeah, annexing Serbia is one thing. Because the national focus is towards all that. And we can't change it until 9 years later. But it was a necessary thing to do. Don't forget about the barracks that we still have to build. We still have our estates. Navigator, just like the previous. Ship durability. Yeah. Ruled for life. I see. So it's not going to be until all the way till then. So we're no longer, you know, a hereditary monarchy. We are a elective. Oh, Poland. Yeah. The fact that we're rivals of Ottomans and that diplomatic reputation isn't there. But if you want to keep having relations, then let's have it. I can improve relations with you for a while. We got plenty of time now. And it seems you are mobilizing. Do you have any issues with anyone? You're not intervening in one of the wars. Now it's going to make you unlikely to join a war because of the blasted manpower shortages that you just got there. Was going to ask you to prepare for war. You know what? Brace it. Right now. Provincial trade power modifier up as we finally embrace colonialism. Easier for all us to get there. Barracks in Belva. Because it's what they want. Every little bit helps. No longer a valid rival, so we have to find a new rival. Probably have to be two Sicilies because they're just right there and we'll soon be at war with them. In fact, two Sicilies is now a sworn enemy of ours. So we keep our alliance with Poland. A little more income. That's what we need. Guess we're going to start seeing more of the Atlantic. Whenever you finish your war, because truce is about to expire, England is in a golden era now. Okay. Just have a look of what that would be like. We can't get Poland in because of the lack of manpower. We could have had a statist in charge, which would help our diplomatic reputation a bit. You're adept too? What the heck? Well, it's gonna be a bit of a delay before we start that conflict with Venice, and if we do feel ready, then bring the ships home. Akonulu is winning. They got the objective. They took care of them, and the other, and Ajam, is yet to be defeated. They finished drilling. I think they're preparing for another call. No. Oh, they're assisting Brandenburg. Damn it. Now it's impossible to bring Poland into this war. And as soon as the Ottomans finish, they're more likely to join when we tell them to prepare war. So yeah, it's either Ottomans or Poland, just we need either of these two nations to help us out. So they're invading Bohemia. Near 100% drilled, which is amazing. Even though you're contributing very little. And making Akonulu do all the work. Cretan separatists. Well, they're about to have Crete. Unless they send some, unless they send an army over there to take it out. If they don't, then Crete will be a free nation. If it drags on, of course. There we go. Summon another. Okay, what do we got here? The clergy requests to invest prosperity in the lands of Dubrovnik. Very good. Nobility when casting a jealous eye on southern Transylvania, an area they claim would make a fine addition to the nation. They call for the military campaign to secure part of it ourselves. The Portuguese request to invest in the prosperity in the city of Dubai. That's in Donja Kraj, right? No, Bosna. There's money in it. Base production of 5 for Bosna, which is currently 3. That'll be doable, but let me see. Base tax has to be for 7, which is currently 5. Or, you know, get Tevis, which, yeah, we do border in that area. But southern Transylvania, really? I don't need that. But there's, you know, administrative power. If you were to do that. Or alternatively, go for that. Hold that thought. Just this once. Finish it later. Not saying it's because of diplomatic relations that we're trying to get. It's more of a fact of, well, I'd love to have more administrative power and all that. Just finish your damn war so we can start one ourselves. But I'll soon move the army into position to, Durazzo. One of the greatest and richest men in Croatia, Ludwig Horat, has died without an heir. A well-respected trader built his fortune from the draperies trade. He has a well-known patron of religion and the arts. Now endeavors bequeathed all this wealth to the state. Well, we do need talent these days, so use them as he would have. I'll get the money by any means, because we already have, you know. Oh, there you are. There we go. For more administrative. An artist. A Croatian Jewish artist. And if you wish... Yeah, I think this new form of government that I just did was a good idea in theory. More administrative power means, you know, faster to, you know, because I kind of want to get this just to finish up. Although aggressive expansion like this would be very suitable, knowing that we're going to be expanding again. And I could use other aggressive expansion impact if I'm going to pillage somebody's capital or something and bring that development back here, which would be very good for us. Yeah, I could see that already. You done yet? Better question is, are you done yet? Is that jam out of the war? No. Keep an eye on that. Well, you may forget that these two Montenegrin regiments that they used to be part of Montenegro, well, they're still there. And I don't know how long that general's going to be around, since he's been very good with us. We would lose a very talented general during this war, knowing he's lived a long life, I assume. Right again. This is Akonulu's war. He's the war negotiator. It's their show. So, clergy loses influence. In fact, they haven't had much influence to begin with, that I could see over there. What are the caravans doing there? Oh, they're with allied with Akonulu in addition of Mamluks. But if the Ottomans were to attack, you know, Mamluks, then Karaman would defend, you know? They're just in a strange position in themselves. A lot of taxation, my lady. And if Poland were to finish their war, well, in actuality, this is Brandenburg's war. In fact, they're in another. Defending Saxony. Allied with Saxony, are you? No, Saxony's attacking Anhalt. They'll come defend. HRE issues, huh? Akonulu's on the verge of winning this thing, so you may want to get ready. Stop drilling. Get to position somewhere in Sinagora. Get ready. Oh, you took care of the Cretan problem. It's called Girit in Turkish. Because I want to beat the Ottomans to the punch in war declarations. And where are we in the army professionalism? 16%. And soon we'll have this just to... Of course, that would increase the land maintenance modifier, but drill gain modifier faster. Vojska in Senagora. Forces of Ajam there. Movement locked. They're not breaking off that siege. They're gonna get killed out there. In Liège, they tell us that the Protestant and Reformed churches reject incense. Many Reformed and Protestant theologians have come to reject not only the elaborately decorated nature of Catholic churches, but also the use of incense in religious rituals. The use of scents, candles, and incense is now increasingly considered sacrilege, and as a result, demands for all types of the incense that for thousands of years have pulled frankincense and myrrh from the east to Europe has finally begun to decrease. Eek. Come on, you have the negotiating. You got them on the ropes. Finish it. And then we'll call the Turks right in. Oh, hang on. Oh, I forgot because it was nearing there, so. As soon as they stop preparing for war, then I gotta tell them to prepare for war. Even though they're pretty much damn well ready. Where is the capital of Ajam? Here, in Quam. I guess one more fort that'll fall, then war's over. Another diplomatic relation, which leaves us more room for, you know, the Albanian vassal that will eventually create, and as well as other potential alliances from somewhere in Italy or in the HRE. Potentially keyword. Or even France, our former enemy, which now they consider us neutral now. But we kind of view them as a bit friendly for whatever reason. I kind of left it there. Oh, allied with two Sicilies. There might be an issue here. Because my issue with them is England, allied of Austria. And think about what you plan on getting yourselves into. I guess you finished your participation. Yes. Now, how about it? Good. That's all I need to hear from you. In the meantime, prepare for war, even though you got no manpower. Call the ships. Get them back to Dubrovnik. Move. Poland is ready to join. And, oh, hey, Florence, you became Tuscany. So they formed Tuscany. How about that? So, what are the Tuscan ideas like? Tuscan traditions is development cost reduction and yearly papal influence. Offensive ideas you've got there. Well, that's 4 ideas. Huh? Pretty good for Tuscany. Even though we do have a few favors. Even though we can't, you know, just use up right here. But they are prepared for war. Unless I would tell Tuscany to prepare for war, because I would probably... Trent is their new ally. I believe that's a little... yeah. Insignificant little bishopric. Don't worry about that. It's part of that trade league, isn't it? Yeah. A little bit of assistance, so... We don't need the Ottomans' help. They're still too busy over there in Ajan because of Akkonulu's war. So whatever the Ottomans are doing, we'll let them have it. And in the meantime, we'll soon improve relations with the Ottomans further. So cannot wait to get this, just to make it easier for us. We're definitely saving the military up since we don't have anything to spend, ideas-wise. But if we can get up there, then this will be very useful to us for aggressive expansion impact. So that way I can get away with whatever I want, other than territorial gains, which will be just 1 gain, and I'll probably give some to Tuscany. Maybe we can use it as a powerful Italian ally just to fend off the others. I could ask them to prepare for war as well. But if I were to give them land, does that mean more favors from them? Just willing to trust us somewhat. Every 11 years. Whereas we do elections for life. So says it. Despite the fact it's Croatian culture, but Ibrahimovic, that's a Bosniak name when you think of it. But it doesn't say it's ran by a Bosnian, despite the accepted cultures we got. And coming soon, Slovenian. If we ever fight against Austria for whatever reason, because if you were to do that in theory, you are in for a world of hurt. And gotta make sure to get Poland to end their alliance with Austria, because that would be the best bet. It would be. But Serbia will assist us, of course, for this conflict. And this money is going to be for war maintenance and all that. But I'm going to be holding off on the development because we're about to be in a war here. There'll be no edicts except for protect trade. We'll wait for these ships to return, then war is declared. All present. Even though this is more of a merchant fleet than a practical naval fighting force. As it's, you know, just at the limit. It was slightly over the limit the other time. Yeah, Poland is the difference maker. Bringing Tuscany and which again, they would have joined if it wasn't for our diplomatic reputation. But I could tell them to prepare for war. In the meantime, yeah. Do that. Rather than build trust. 3, 2, 1. Now you're both ready. Poland and Tuscany. Mantua will not join because war exhaustion. So what we're dealing with is yeah, Venice has 11,000 with some in reserve still, but 2 Sicilies who are probably going to give us a bit of a hard time. And before we declare that war finally, what is the idea of 2 Sicilies? The Sicilian traditions. Oh, morale of armies. They also have offensive ideas too. And economic. And they're very good with the navy. Yeah, they're going to be trouble. I wish the Ottomans were here to back us up. I'm sure they will, knowing that they trust us fully and are willing to help us out of anything. But we'll continue to curry favors with them, knowing that we will have Albania, and these 2 must return to Albania. And then coming soon, Serbia, and then Bulgaria. As we've discussed before. Now let's get this over with. I'm confident about the ability for Poland and Tuscany that they could bail us out. Now remember the new military doctrine we came up with ourselves based on our experience in the past war. Take Durazzo, defend the homeland until reinforcements arrive. And Tuscany, you're on your own. If you got good enough manpower, because I didn't see. Oh, they got plenty in reserve. They can handle it, I hope. So, let's do it. This army's been fully drilled for a while. This is morale of armies, but army tradition. They've fully maintained forts now. Yeah. We still got our general, which he'll move in fast in and out. One coming in, but more of this. But in the meantime, occupy this area. After we occupy Durazzo, then defend the homeland until Polish reinforcements arrive. And Tuscany will have the Italian front there, even though they got 2 forts to deal with against Bologna. Mantua won't be there yet. 2 Sicilies is going to be a bit problematic. What trade node did it belong to? Just this part here, and in fact, this half of Italy and then that half of Italy. I see. Durazzo is strategically important because it's a trading post. No, natural harbor. Even though it'll be part of Albania as a subject and then eventually Croatia. You get the idea. Right, as we will be marching into Durazzo to take it over, and of course we must hold that objective unless other countries like 2 Sicilies gets here. But remember, we're up against Bologna, Constance, Trent, and 2 Sicilies, the big difference maker of this war. We're up against Croatia, Poland, and its subjects, Lithuania and Moldavia, Well, we have Serbia with us and Tuscany too. In numbers, we can deal with them. And the Navy seems pretty evenly matched. Even though our Navy is considered inferior, but we have this Admiral who's, you know, level-headed. In case if he were to lose a ship. But naval actions would seem a bit, you know, unlikely. If we ever try to go against them, knowing that there's a lot more of them out there, and there too. So it's going to be a little bit hard to deal with them. So Two Sisters will no doubt be the scourge of our Croatian interests in Italy. Righto. Won the initial victory, but there's going to be a lot more of them out there. Oddly, there's a lot more transports there. But you know there's more Venetian and Sicilian ships that are still going to be out there waiting. Cornelia has not finished the war, but I'm sure we'll get a notification that says call to arms, bring the Ottomans in here. The, what do you call their nationality? Bolognese. Bolognese. Didn't pay attention to their traditions. What are they like? Fort defense. Etruscan or just morale of armies. Again with the morale of armies. Of course, as part of the Italian wars, as we are, you know, in war, there's mercenaries if available. Yep, they have a large fleet. And we're being blockaded now. Alright, they're out of here. I'll defend the home front until reinforcements arrive. Tuscany will try to hold on as long as they can. That's what they gotta do. There's Poland. One of the first armies. Some are still exiled. Yeah, bursting on the scene. And don't forget there's a 3-star Polish general who in actuality is the king himself. Most of the troops are over there. Polish armies in retreat. They're available. We really need the Ottomans to deal with 2 Sicilies. Are you willing? They trust us. Sir, yes, sir. Thank you. Couldn't do it without you. Of course, the armies are far away from here, but the navy is available. They gave some land back to the Timurids. Well, it used to be all of this. So I don't see why not. And Akonulu got what they wanted. You are fighting in their highlands. We can't get to Venetia itself. Not without Ottoman naval assistance, which they're assembling. But we'll do siege work here. But it's in a pretty precarious position as it's in the hills and whatnot. And they could easily swarm over us. But fortunately, with improved foraging, attrition damage will be little of an issue. And, like war exhaustion thing, from attrition, blockade, yeah, it'll go up very, very slowly. So not a problem. What are you doing? That's supposed to be supporting. Look out. Or who owns the mountains is a real question. They took a river crossing and mountains for 2 Sicilies. But they got a much better general. Slightly outnumbered, but the morale isn't there. You get the idea. A few more reinforcements. Nope. Skilled generalship will make a difference. River crossing or no river crossing. And he's got good dice rolls too. On the move. At least they haven't joined. And we still hold the objective. Comes reinforcements. And soon Lithuanian reinforcements will be there. They survived. Oh, now they're stack wiped, definitely. Bad news for Tuscany, but good news for the Ottomans, which are going to Sardinia. There's no forts here. Tuscan Navy out there. Poland will back us up if we are attacked. The people of Pula rely heavily on their port to supply the city with what it needs. But the blockade against Istra has cut off both the many luxuries and some goods they claim are necessary to run the city. People can hardly make do with salt alone and are turning to the cry to find a solution. War is hard on everyone, they will have to make do. Same with administrative power. Meanwhile, some of our grain farms are having an excellent year, allowing us to feed more troops and increasing our manpower. Very good. You are carpet sieging Sardinia. But, some are not moving. Oh yeah, I forgot the morale of armies is that they're craven. But it does not matter, they have the numbers. It's the Navy that needs to go to work. You got Constance. You ready to peace out? Because I'm willing to give you white peace and just give you nothing in return. Just want you out of this war so it'll make our lives easier. Yes, it's a draw, but hey, it's just to get them out. Not there to pillage their area yet. No need to. They just need to get through Trent. naive relative. Close member of our families, but provided and naive, it keeps telling foreigners vital information publicly. This is technically treason, but executing a member of the royalty might cause unrest. Don't care about spy detection. I know people want claims, and yet they're going to do nothing because we have the Ottomans to back us up. Meanwhile, from a herald from Castile, they tell us of Columbian exchange. With the colonization of Americas, a wide range of new seeds, crops, and animals starting to spread in between the new world and the old. From the first moment of the introduction of crops such as maize, manioc, and tomatoes are now spreading over the entire old world, just as non-American beasts of burden are becoming ever more sought after in the new world. As lands that were once considerably unfit for growing anything for either part of the year, or in some cases ever before, are put to use in the production of food and cereals, and a general ability of food is now being less scarce than it once was. I had to look at that because I was wondering what the hell is happening. That was the Constance on me. Price of grain reduced, but price of livestock up. Bad for grain. Because we control, well, most of the areas that we will soon control mostly rely on grain. But the price of the livestock here will go up. So that kind of evens out. You've done well. Now go improve relations with the Ottomans for a bit. Maybe, maybe not. So we continue to get favors from them. Yes, we're together in war. And I want to save up a little bit of administrative tech to get us to this, and it will be one step closer from finishing this, and all the idea costs will make things easier. And one more idea for aggressive expansion impact. Damn disease. Serbia has surrendered. And they're not out yet. Bunch of light ships, some galleys. Are these fleets here? No admirals. If only we were assisted by another fleet, I would be willing to participate. They did drop them off. So another army is here, and we'll soon kick the enemies out of there and take the war to Sicily, the Sicilians. Still make a bit of fortune here. Man, this is a heavily fortified country. This belongs here. Take more of this. Uh-oh. Craven, inspirational leader. We can't save you over there. Nope, they're outnumbered. Terrible idea. Terrible. They're all going in, but If we go that way, we take a river crossing penalty. But they're smaller in number and not recovering. And plus, some of these are mercenary troops. Hardly any professionals. Move on. Attack here. Yes, we took a river crossing penalty. But it matters little to us. Got him. Little of that prestige. Now with friendly reinforcements arrived, now we're going to take it to them. And the Ferrara. Siege all fortresses. And the gates will be open. Basically. On that part of the Italian front. But if we can break through that fleet, we can enter into Venice. Or we'll arrive in Corfu. Okay. What for? More friendly reinforcements arriving. Walls breached. Not for long. Tuscany is liberated. Cotto. War enthusiasm is high for them, but that'll soon change when we knock out their allies. Oh, here comes Sicily. There'll be more friendly reinforcements moving that way, while we'll be taking care of the Bolognese, siege all their forts, and get them out of the war. And what's their development like? Just curious. Ooh, it's pretty good land. It's a nice piece of land you got there. Matchlock musket. The arquebus proved to be a very effective weapon for armor penetration. The result was that the arm began to get heavier to resist its fire. A larger musket could deliver a heavier round, offering better armor penetration. So the combat whips increased by 2, more cavalry fire and a little more infantry shock, which we can now build a weapons manufacturer. Yeah, so in the future, we will start using musketeers in widespread use. And just this once, and this is for this. A little bit of reduction on aggressive expansion impact, knowing that we're going to be doing peace deals. That'll be. And we can further improve relations with some countries like the Ottomans just to keep the alliance alive. Told you, diplomacy is Croatia's strongest weapon. It may not be much, but every little bit helps. Especially when humanist ideas combined with diplomatic improve relations a little more further. And then a little improve relations to that too. Regency for Poland. Oh, excuse me, Serbia. always get the Polish and Serbian symbols confused. One's got a one-headed eagle and the other's double-headed. Get it right. Ferrara's fallen, thus opening our way to further assist. Continue with your siege. We're going in. The general has died. He died while marching an army through Ferrara. His timely arrival saved many a battle. Yeah, it was a great defensive general of ours. And since we're in occupied territory, we have to get a new one. Or make myself a ruler. Make myself general, I should say. As we don't have one. Or we're gonna have to. No, it is good, but we'll have to make do. Make do with what you have. Surrendered. Head to here. Front lines being shifted. And we've, by the way, with them called, you know, two Sicilies, does that mean... Where's their capital? This was their capital. I like how you said was as a past tense. Now we're carpet sieging the whole area. Pushing them back. Who asks? Trent. Oh, yes. What is it? Pillage. Reparations. Money. It's not quite much of development you've got there, but I would pillage you, but let me see. In actuality, I'll decline just a moment, but let me get a good look at you. Pillaging that capital here. See, not as much as, say, taking a piece of territory, but it's not connected. And plus, that land's not very valuable. And you're just a one province minor. Just give me reparations and money. That's it. You won't be pillaged. But I know who will. Talking about them down there. Because I have a bone to pick with them. Since they're our rival. Yeah, we're back to a corner. I don't know if that's our chance to break through, because they'll be attacking us if we tried to do that. Bologna is finished. I would pillage them. Also, isn't Ferrara the birthplace of the Renaissance? No, that's in Brno. That's over here. You're thinking of some other playthrough long ago. Before I started recording. It's occupied by us, but some of that's Tuscany. Though I wish I could give territorial gains for Tuscany. Just to make it feel good for them. Since they were quite useful, but they fought bravely, but they couldn't. Devastating the capital. I mean, reducing its development here would definitely show them. But we don't have that. So we can't do that. So it'll be reparations then. Luca. Oh. No, just reparations. Because, you know, we always want more money by any means. If you say so. The war enthusiasm for Venice is very low, but we need to defeat 2 Sicilies and their ships. We're coming in. See how long they can hold out. Because we're throwing all of our bodies in there to besiege this place. And they're going to go down faster, and it will rampage them through. Because they have nowhere to run. Although they could escape, but transport ain't big enough for all of them. Thank you. Scarism. Knowledge is power. Just water shortage. Won't be long now. And then we'll turn them loose. Mountains, farmlands. Whatever your strategy's gonna be, I know how we're gonna deal with them. As soon as we turn them loose. Surrendered. Yep, definitely this way. I ain't going up there. All of us. Now. All to Palermo. And more friendly reinforcements will be there. With their last fort fallen? Oh, the knights actually moved to Malta. I didn't know that. Now they'll have to think twice about coming here. Big mistake on their part. 28, 29, 30. And they are about to enter the battle. Got them all. A brilliant Ottoman inventor from the Ottomans comes to seek our patronage after a falling out of the empire. Ibrahim Makolic has been described by some as a great mind of this age, producing many mechanical and chemical inventions beyond understanding of most others. Oh, I would not do that. We would not risk the anger of the Ottomans, but that further improves relations with us. That's good. Falling out with the Empire is no good to nobody. You'll get yours soon. Besiege everything. just want to humiliate the heck out of Sicily. So if we can't pillage Venetia, then I'll pillage them. Well, actually talking about Tuscany. Well, we'll figure something out. Ding, ding. Now everybody march. Of course, we'll conduct separate peace with them. Would love to do that. Can release Sardinia as a separate nation for whatever reason, even though that'll cost you. It's not aggressive, but hey, don't know what would be good for a Sardinian nation of itself, but humiliating for more power projection because we haven't had that as of late. I'm sure they pay very well. Very well. And with the loss of their navy, it'll be much easier to manage to defeat them on the at sea than blockade. And here we come, Venice. Hold that thought. Try to get to Durazzo. We want to get there. Beat them in a race to Venice when that time comes, when we head to their capital. Oh, we'll talk. Hang on. We're trying to get there. In position. Okay. There. Now remember that peace deal. You know, I don't need territorial claimants, but if I wanted to, I would just go for all of this because of the Venice trade node. If we want to enter Italy through that way. Well, controls what? Let me see the development. Even though we never had any territorial claimants there. 16. If this is going to be our entry into Italy, so be it. As much as I still have a bone to pick with the Papal States. Because we still don't like each other. And they want my provinces. And you got crap allies, in my opinion. So, that's how it's gonna go. In addition to Durazzo. So what happens if we were to have this and this? Okay, that's coalition. That's a little too much. You know, for these two to go up against us. Okay, that's a little bit excessive. I understand. Plus, it's going to cost you a lot, so... not going to happen. Separate peace, then. As to terms. Nothing aggressive except maybe annul treaties with France. Because the next time I fight against you for whatever reason, I don't want France involved. At all. I could care less if you still team up with Venice. Which I could annul treaty with that, but no. This is good. Because the last thing that Croatia wants to fight is another war with France. It's the last thing anybody wants. I can end this war if I want to. But, no. The fleets must combine and defeat him here. Need to scare them back into port. Their only port left. But they still got a formidable navy. In fact, the amount that they have currently compared to ours, it's going to take a lot more than that. And they're not willing to participate. Well, we can't get in there because blockading the port, so you can't move in because the blockading fleet there. Austria at war. England against Scotland. Scotland and France. Well, if I had my druthers, that, you know, may start considering fabricating claims for Slovenian territory, as we would like to have that in future. Also, that thing expired, right? Yes. So now it will be annexed a lot sooner than planned. Because it went away. Good. Well, I think we'll be forced to end this war then. We got no reason to be sitting around there. You got your war goal. We can't pillage your capital because we never took it. War reparations means a lot of money from them. But taking some of their territories around it would cause coalition to form. Yeah, pretty sizable one. Yeah, let's not do that, but... And coring it would be too much. So just one. And the demands that they suggested would give cores, you know, to return to Milan. They will renounce their claims, which I could care less, because they don't have the power to do so. And plus we have the Ottomans to back us up. I could care less about annulling. And you are willing to break an alliance with two Sicilies? Let me adjust that. Keep that, because I still want to kick their ass one next time. That costs diplomatic power. Return them to Milan, even though we still consider them as a friend, for an anti-Venetian alliance. But I think Tuscany has proven their worth. In fact, the difference of their traditions. Development cost versus the Milanese infantry combat ability. I don't know. They got a navy. They don't. But since we still have more room for relations, but unfortunately, they don't like each other. So, oh well. Anyways, the returning the cores and revoking the cores would just be adding more prestige to us. Just for that. And a little bit of coring there, which I won't actually use it because we're going to release it as Albania very soon after. And have very small aggressive expansion penalty. And next time when I fight against Venice, Venice will be ours. If not, then around it. Or alternatively, fight against the Papal States and enter Italy through there and then control all of this. In addition to our Yugoslavian expansion. So let's have a look one more time. Yeah, renouncing the claims just means more prestige to us, which is whatever to me. Don't forget about the reparations. And yes, it exceeds it. Because it's 76%. But I would say forget about the cores that you have against us. You're still going to have claims to it. And it won't matter because the Ottomans will back us up, and Poland too, so you can't have that sort of ability to do so. And return lands to Milan, yes. That I'm willing. Yes, sir. It's what I want. We've earned a lot of money out of this. And yes, it spends a little bit of that diplomatic power, but it'll do. Also, the mission is complete, which is expel the Italians. There are no Latins in the Balkans anymore. Unless you want to say Dalmatians, but they're an accepted culture. Dalmatians are cool. But here's the problem with this. Have a permanent claim in the entire Balkans region. Having a claim against the Ottomans, that would further deteriorate relations. I would not complete this mission until when we get all of Bulgaria back. And that's when I feel that the Ottomans have outlived their usefulness. Now, I can return it to Albania. No. Where is it? Oh yes, I remember. There's Albania. They're Orthodox and they're Albanian. South Slavic culture, even though technically they're not. So, here you go. Never wanted to core it anyhow, because we want to save that administrative power. Yes, I still have a claim to it, but I don't care about that right now. And we'll annex them at a later time, which will be 10 years later. And they gotta have high relations, but for starters, you can... Hey, it's about that time. Give this land back to them. They love us very much and using up the favors. So, how much is it? 18 favors due to development of 18 here. We'll get another. Don't worry about that. April 2nd. I'll answer you in a bit. Trying to get Albania here. No longer a valid rival. Because we've already beat the heck out of them. I'll talk. It's 12 favors from 12 development. And we still got a lot. And coming soon, Bulgaria. Oh, from you two. Okay, you got it. Okay, so... Serbia will be fully annexed by 1539. So in 1539, this area here of Northern Macedonia will release it as a subject for Bulgaria and continue to negotiate with the Ottomans for returning the core provinces of Bulgaria back to them. So as far as development is concerned, we'd be spending a lot less favors to get all of this. And how many favors do we have for you? Because we need to start working that up again. So we can tell you to break the alliance with Austria. Well done, all of you. We've expanded it so much that and we're at peace again. Gotta work on this. Because as soon as we get there, the better. And Great War reparations from Venice. No need for that. How much is it for another? 56. No, save it. And I'm sure Albania will have its own army and navy to assist us. Same culture group, diplomatic reputation, and all that. Yeah, it'll take many years. And it won't let all that. Production has been lowered, but think about the buildings you could be building. Creating a World Trade Center will make 1,000 ducats. %27 trade power. That reminds me. The trade power. And yeah, we forgot to upgrade those galleys, which you might as well do that now, but first... Hey, what happened to that one ship? I think we lost one back a ways there. I didn't pay attention, but no, it doesn't matter. I think we... Oh, no. Now, split. Really, there's a... From Alexandria. This is just to add trade power to it. And this other fleet. What about privateering? The steel trade power. Oh, don't you know who could be out there? You need a lot more ships than that. No, never mind. Tech trade. Constantinople, it's a lot more valuable. Yeah. So, yes, we came up with an elective monarchy system, but I guess it turned out well for us. Especially that we have a skilled one. 93 ducats. Free thinking leads away from God. Tolerance for opinions is all well and good, but heretical preachers are risking the souls of their congregations. To make matters worse, attempting to suppress these deviants would go against our humanist ideals. It's hopefully harmless in the long run. Protestantism has entered in our country. We can convert it back to it. Because I don't want Protestantism in here, but even though we sort of tolerate them. As long as they don't cause any more problems regarding autonomy and whatnot. That's the last thing that anybody wants to have. Make most of our fortune through taxation rather than production, you know? So don't you think we should build more churches throughout the country? I mean, we already have them here. Should build one here. What about production? Drazden and Bosna. And a barracks, you know that we have manpower issues. But if you wanted something like manufacture, you need a lot of money for this. Slavonia is the place to be if we choose to start saving up money again. Istria, right? Istria, yeah. Grain prices are notoriously unstable. Anything from the weather where it's grown to incidents hurting its distribution can suddenly cause the price to rise significantly. As a result of one sudden change, there's currently a shortage of grain in many of our larger cities. Desperate to feed themselves, the common people directing their anger at the merchants who they feel are making good use of the situation overcharged for their wares. The merchants themselves, on the other hand, claim that this is a natural result of the shortage and that it simply isn't enough bread to go around. Oh, hell. We have the manpower to take care of all that. We're not drilling our army. Slavonia, Rijeka, Bielova, Vrazden. You're standing on Slavonia. So we'll beat them up there, then one more in Rijeka. In fact, let's end the episode on that note. Let's beat them up. We should not meddle in these things. Yep, the king has gone to fight against his own people. Maybe he'll get a leadership trait out of this. Army is still somewhat drilled from earlier. Nothing yet. Done devastated the countryside. Master of Arms. Infantry combat ability up. Guess there is still some use for the King General. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll end the episode on that note. As the economy improves, even though Rijeka took a little bit of devastation, but it'll quickly get over it. Hopefully. We'll be making our fortunes again soon. While we will be building buildings that'll help us with the income. Just try to take advantage of some of its development that we're trying so hard to develop these days. mean, I did say it's like, yeah, it says 56, but it can be further reduced when you apply that edict again. I'm sure one day we will expand into Italy, since we got the Yugoslav expansionist idea covered. We got it all covered. And having to decide in the next episode, should we just go for textile manufacturing technology, or get one more for humanist tolerance, which will lead to reduction of idea costs. It'll make it easier to get the rest of these in a meantime, while we'll definitely level up on administrative and military. I mean, we're ready for any kind of conflict right now. And it would likely be the Papal States. You know, for a humiliated rival. Which the Ottomans will be, once again, the difference makers to take care of all this. Holland has expanded considerably. And England is about to take a good portion of Scotland. Denmark just annexed Norway. Just like we're trying to annex Serbia, which will happen in the next episode. We will have the same amount of borders, roughly, as modern Yugoslavia. Roughly, because we still haven't got this yet. No longer friendly, now it's neutral. So we probably have to start looking at Austria as a potential rival sooner or later. And start fabricating claims against them for this, and if we can, this. And get Poland to break an alliance with Austria, and then when the time comes, bring them all on, and then we'll take them all on, fend off England and anything. We're ready for that kind of warfare, so to speak. And with the acquisition of Serbia, this would mean more land force limits, so we can have a second army. All that and more in the next episode of Croatia. But until then, so long for now. Pozdrav.